Rain hammered the glass walls of Victoria Sterling's private garage as her midnight blue supercar sat silent. The CEO had summoned 3 engineering teams, yet none could make the engine respond. Every diagnostic screen showed confusing faults. Victoria stared at the expensive machine, wondering how something advanced could suddenly become useless. The car was a limited production V12, worth more than most houses. Victoria had bought it after building her technology company from nothing. She loved its precision and quiet power, but tonight its engine refused even the smallest ignition attempt. Engineers had replaced sensors, tested batteries, inspected computers, and discovered nothing. One engineer closed his tablet and sighed. "We've reached the point where replacing major systems is our only option." Victoria frowned. "That could take weeks." He nodded. "And there's no guarantee." Before she could respond, her assistant mentioned a mechanic who had repaired unusual vehicles. His name was Daniel Brooks. Daniel was a single father who owned a modest neighborhood garage across town. He had no corporate degree, no expensive diagnostic laboratory, and no famous clients. What he did have was patience. Daniel believed machines communicated through small clues, vibrations, clicks, smells, temperatures, and sounds that impatient technicians often overlooked. Victoria expected an older mechanic with decades of experience. Instead, Daniel arrived in his late 30s, wearing worn work boots, dark trousers, and a faded mechanic shirt. He greeted everyone professionally before approaching the beautiful supercar. The engineers immediately looked skeptical, but Daniel did not seem interested in impressing anyone. "Can I hear it?" Daniel asked. Victoria looked confused. "The engine won't start." Daniel smiled. "I know. I still want to hear what happens when you try." One engineer laughed, but Victoria entered the driver's seat. She pressed the ignition button while Daniel stood beside the open hood, listening. The engine clicked once, paused, and clicked again. Daniel raised one hand. "Stop!" Victoria released the button. He waited several seconds before asking her to repeat it. Again came the same faint clicking pattern. Daniel leaned closer, then asked everyone to remain silent. The engineers exchanged annoyed glances, but Victoria agreed. Daniel listened a third time. Then he crouched beside the front wheel and placed his fingertips against a metal component. "There," he whispered. One engineer stepped forward. "There what?" Daniel pointed toward a relay housing. "That relay is receiving power, but it's not staying engaged. Listen to the second click." The lead engineer immediately rejected the idea. His diagnostic computer showed no relay failure. Daniel shrugged. "Computers read signals. I'm listening to behavior." He asked for a voltage meter instead of another scanner. Victoria watched as Daniel tested the relay under load. The result changed everything. Voltage dropped during engagement. Daniel explained that the relay was not defective. A microscopic grounding connection had developed resistance because of corrosion hidden beneath a protective bracket. The computer could not recognize the brief interruption as the true cause. Daniel carefully removed the bracket, exposing a tiny connector that looked perfectly normal to everyone else. "How did you notice that?" Victoria asked. Daniel smiled. The second click sounded weaker. The engineers stared. Daniel cleaned the connector, tightened the grounding point, and replaced the protective seal. He then stepped away. "Try it now." Victoria pressed the button, and the powerful V12 suddenly roared loudly throughout the workshop. Everyone froze for a moment, then the engine settled into a deep, smooth idle. Victoria's expression changed from disbelief to pure relief. One engineer checked his diagnostic tablet, discovering that every major fault had disappeared. Daniel simply wiped his hands and said, "Sometimes the machine tells you exactly what hurts." Victoria offered Daniel a large payment, but he asked for a repair fee. She was surprised. "You just saved me from replacing half the car." Daniel replied, "I repaired a connector, nothing more." Victoria studied him. His confidence was unusual because it came without arrogance, something she rarely encountered among executives. Later, Victoria learned why Daniel valued practical knowledge so deeply. He had become a mechanic after his father died, eventually opening his own garage while raising his daughter, Mia. Daniel worked long hours because he wanted Mia to have opportunities he never had, yet he still found time to help customers. Victoria visited Daniel's garage several days later. She expected clutter and old cars, but discovered a remarkably organized workshop. Mia sat at a small desk completing schoolwork while Daniel repaired an elderly customer's vehicle. Victoria watched as he explained the problem without using complicated language or trying to increase the bill. That moment changed Victoria's understanding of Daniel. She had spent years surrounded by people who measured success through expensive offices, prestigious titles, and impressive credentials. Daniel measured success differently. If a customer drove away safely, if his daughter smiled, and if his work was honest, he considered the day successful. Victoria eventually offered Daniel a position leading a diagnostic team within her automotive division. Daniel refused at first because he did not want to abandon his customers. Victoria then changed the offer. He could keep his garage, teach her engineers his listening-based methods, and receive funding to train young mechanics. Daniel accepted. Engineers who had once dismissed him began studying his methods. He taught them to observe before replacing, listen before scanning, and understand symptoms instead of blindly trusting computer codes. Victoria watched her company's technicians become better, thoughtful problem solvers because one humble mechanic had taught them patience and humility. The supercar remained Victoria's favorite vehicle, but she never forgot the night it failed. Whenever she heard its engine start, she remembered Daniel standing beside the hood, listening while everyone else stared at screens. The experience taught her that technology was powerful, but human attention could still uncover what machines missed. Daniel's reputation eventually spread beyond the city, yet fame never changed his priorities. He still returned home for dinner with Mia, repaired ordinary cars, and opened his garage each morning. Whenever someone called him a genius, Daniel laughed. "I'm not a genius," he said. "I just learned to listen carefully."